Welcome back to Heaven Sent Bible Quizzes. Today's 30-question challenge comes directly from a quiz that teens take in Sunday Bible school, covering both Old and New Testament truths. Think you can pass a youth Sunday school test? Let's find out. Question 1. Why did God call Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt? A. Because Moses was a great speaker. B. Because God heard the people's cry for help. Or C. Because Moses was Pharaoh's brother. The answer is B. Because God heard the people's cry for help. God chose Moses after hearing the suffering of his people and remembering his promise to deliver them. Exodus 3 verses 7 to 10. Question 2. Why did Jesus teach using parables? A. To confuse the crowds. B. To make his message easier to remember. Or C. To impress the teachers of the law. The answer is B. To make his message easier to remember. Parables use simple stories to teach deep truths about God's kingdom in a way people can understand. Matthew 13 verse 34. Question 3. Why did God ask Noah to build an ark? A. To rescue animals from extinction. B. To test Noah's building skills. Or C. To save Noah and his family from judgment. The answer is C. To save Noah and his family from judgment. God planned to flood the earth because of its wickedness and told Noah how to survive through obedience. Genesis 6 verse 13-14. Question 4. Why did Jesus feed the 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish? A. To prove he was stronger than Moses. B. To show he could provide for his people's needs. Or C. To prepare them for the Last Supper. The answer is B. To show he could provide for people's needs. Jesus had compassion on the crowd and used a small meal to meet their hunger and reveal God's power. Matthew 14 verses 19 to 21. Question 5. Why did David defeat Goliath when others were afraid? A. He trained as a soldier in secret. B. He wanted to impress King Saul. Or C. He trusted that God would fight for him. The answer is C. He trusted that God would fight for him. David believed God was bigger than any giant and stepped out in faith without fear. 1 Samuel 17 verses 45 to 47. Question 6. Why was Jesus baptized if he never sinned? A. To fulfill all righteousness. B. To join John the Baptist's followers. Or C. To receive forgiveness on our behalf. The answer is A. To fulfill all righteousness. Jesus was baptized to fully obey God's plan and set an example for those who would follow him. Matthew 3 verse 15. Question 7. Why did the Israelites march around Jericho for 7 days? A. To confuse the enemy. B. Because it was God's command for victory. Or C. To wear down the city walls. The answer is B. Because it was God's command for victory. God gave Joshua unusual instructions to show that the victory would come from him, not military power. Joshua 6, verses 2 to 5. Question 8. Why did Peter begin to sink when walking on water towards Jesus? A. The wind became stronger. B. He lost sight of Jesus and became afraid. Or C. He slipped on seaweed. The answer is B. He lost sight of Jesus and became afraid. Peter had faith to step out, but fear took over when he focused on the storm instead of the Savior. Matthew 14, verse 30. Question 9. Why did God give Solomon great wisdom? A. So he could win every argument. B. Because he asked for it to lead well. Or C. Because he was born into royalty. The answer is B. Because he asked for it to lead well. Solomon humbly asked for wisdom to judge God's people, and God honored that request. 1 Kings 3, verses 9 to 12. Question 10. Why did Paul write letters to the early churches? A. To warn them about Rome. B. To remind them of Jewish customs. Or C. To teach and encourage them in their faith. The answer is C. To teach and encourage them in their faith. Paul's letters help guide the new believers, correct errors, and keep them strong in the gospel. Romans 1, verses 11 to 12. Question 11. Why did the people build the Tower of Babel? A. To protect themselves from another flood. B. To reach heaven and make a name for themselves. Or C. To hide from God's presence. The answer is B. To reach heaven and make a name for themselves. They wanted fame and unity without God, which led to confusion and scattering. Genesis 11, verses 4 to 8. Question 12. Why did Jesus choose fishermen like Peter and Andrew as disciples? A. They were wealthy and influential. B. They were already known as teachers. Or C. They were humble and willing to follow. The answer is C. They were humble and willing to follow. Jesus often called ordinary people who would leave everything to follow him. Matthew 4, verses 18 to 20. Question 13. Why was Ruth's loyalty to Naomi so important? A. It led her to marry into the line of Jesus. B. It helped Naomi become wealthy again. Or C. It prevented her from returning to Moab. The answer is A. It led her to marry into the line of Jesus. Ruth's faithfulness brought her into God's plan, becoming an ancestor of Christ. Ruth 4, verses 13 to 17. Question 14. Why did Jesus heal people during his ministry? A. To prove he was greater than the prophets. B. To fulfill prophecy and show compassion. Or C. To gather a large following. The answer is B. To fulfill prophecy and show compassion. Jesus healed to reveal God's love and to confirm who he was. Matthew 8, verses 16 to 17. Question 15. Why was Daniel thrown into the lion's den? A. He refused to pay taxes. B. He prayed to God instead of the king. Or C. He helped the king's enemies. The answer is B. He prayed to God instead of the king. Daniel chose obedience to God over fear, even when it broke the law. Daniel 6, verses 10 to 16. You've reached the halfway mark. Are you surprised by how tough a youth quiz can be? If you're enjoying it, tap the like button. It really helps more people see these quizzes. Now, back to the challenge. Question 16. Why did Jesus say, "Let the little children come unto me"? A. To show children were easier to teach. B. To remind the disciples of his own childhood. Or C. To teach that faith should be like a child's. The answer is C. To teach that faith should be like a child's. Jesus praised childlike trust and made clear that God's kingdom welcomes the humble. Matthew 19, verse 14. Question 17. Why did God allow Job to be tested? A. To punish him for pride. B. To prove his faith was genuine. Or C. To remind him of his sins. The answer is B. To prove his faith was genuine. Though Job suffered, God allowed the testing to reveal Job's true loyalty. Job 1 verses 8 to 12. Question 18. Why did Jesus ride into Jerusalem on a donkey? A. To fulfill prophecy and show humility. B. Because horses weren't allowed in the city. Or C. To avoid drawing attention. The answer is A. To fulfill prophecy and show humility. This act fulfilled Zechariah's prophecy and revealed him as the humble king. Matthew 21, verse 5. Question 19. Why did God part the Red Sea for Moses? A. To give the people time to build boats. B. To trap Pharaoh's army. Or C. To deliver Israel and show his power. The answer is C. To deliver Israel and show his power. God opened the sea to rescue his people and defeat their enemies. Exodus 14 verses 21 to 30. Question 20. Why did Jesus tell the story of the Good Samaritan? A. To show how to earn salvation. B. To explain who our neighbor really is. Or C. To correct Jewish history. The answer is B. To explain who our neighbor really is. Jesus used the story to show that love must cross barriers and go beyond words. Luke 10, verses 29 to 37. Question 21. Why did God choose Mary to be the mother of Jesus? A. She came from a royal family. B. She was older and experienced. Or C. She was humble and favored by God. The answer is C. She was humble and favored by God. Mary found grace in God's eyes and trusted him fully. Luke 1, verses 30 to 38. Question 22. Why did the Israelites carry the Ark of the Covenant ahead of them? A. To warn enemies of their arrival. B. To be reminded of God's presence. Or C. To display their wealth. The answer is B. To be reminded of God's presence. The ark symbolized God's guidance and power going before them. Joshua 3, verse 3 to 6. Question 23. Why did Jesus call himself the Good Shepherd? A. To compare himself to David. B. To show he would care for and lay down his life for his people. Or C. To correct false teachers. The answer is B. To show he would care for and lay down his life for his people. Jesus described himself as one who protects, knows, and sacrifices for his sheep. John 10, verse 11. Question 24. Why did God give the 10 plagues in Egypt? A. To punish Pharaoh only. B. To convince Egypt to release the Israelites. Or C. To help Moses become famous. The answer is B. To convince Egypt to release the Israelites. Each plague showed God's power over Egypt's gods and led to Israel's freedom. Exodus 7, verses 4 to 5. Question 25. Why did Jesus say to love your enemies? A. Because it was a new law. B. To keep peace with Rome. Or C. To reflect God's love and be different from the world. The answer is C. to reflect God's love and be different from the world. Loving enemies shows God's heart and proves true faith. Matthew 5, verses 44 to 45. Question 26. Why did Samuel anoint David as king while Saul was still alive? A. Saul asked him to. B. David was the people's favorite. Or C. God had rejected Saul and chosen David. The answer is C. God had rejected Saul and chosen David. God looked at the heart and picked David as the future leader. 1 Samuel 16, verses 1 to 13. Question 27. Why did Jesus say he is the light of the world? A. Because he came during the Feast of Lights. B. To show he leads people out of darkness. Or C. Because John called him that. The answer is B. To show he leads people out of darkness. Jesus offers truth and direction for those lost in sin. John 8, verse 12. Question 28. Why did Peter deny Jesus 3 times? A. He didn't recognize Jesus in the dark. B. He feared for his life. Or C. He had been bribed by the guards. The answer is B. He feared for his life. Peter loved Jesus, but gave in to fear under pressure. Luke 22, verse 61 to 62. Question 29. Why did the Israelites wander in the wilderness for 40 years? A. Because Moses got lost. B. Because they were attacked by enemies. Or C. Because they disobeyed and doubted God's promise. The answer is C. Because they disobeyed and doubted God's promise. Their lack of faith delayed their entry into the promised land. Numbers 14, verses 33 to 34. Question 30. Why did Jesus say he came to seek and save the lost? A. Because many had left the Jewish faith. B. Because he wanted to form a new kingdom. Or C. Because rescuing sinners was his mission. The answer is C. Because rescuing sinners was his mission. Jesus made clear that saving the lost was the heart of his purpose. Luke 19, verse 10. Congratulations! You've reached the end of the quiz. Did you enjoy it? Were you surprised at the level of difficulty? Or did you just breeze through? Let us know in the comments when you post your result. Plus, take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this quiz with family and friends. They are an excellent way to learn more about Christ's ministry, his love for us, and the sacrifice he made on our behalf. Thank you again for visiting. Have a great day, and may God continue to bless you and everyone you love.